Hello everybody. On this trip we're gonna go to St.Moritz, which is in the southeast part of Switzerland, and also where the official language is the fourth language is Romansh. So let's go and explore. You probably wondered by now how come we always take the train in Switzerland. Well, Switzerland has the world's densest rail network, and actually this year is the 175th anniversary of the official Swiss rail system. Now there's also a lot of the smaller railways, regional railways that are either owned by the cantons or municipalities, and some of them are actually privately owned or corporations. So it's quite a bit of a network, but it's convenient, and since you're just want to gawk around, it's a perfect way to go. We're on the train, and in order to get to St.Moritz, you have to go over an overpass. And of course, being in a train, you end up going through a lot of tunnels. And this is a famous Landwasser bridge. And we'll hear about it a little later as well. But it's amazing how many tunnels they had to dig. Now this is now looking back down the valley, and you can hardly see where the track is where we climbed up the mountain. Again, looking down at one of the villages. And as you notice, every village has got a church, either Catholic or Protestant, and it's actually one way to tell is what the predominant religion is in the area. Hooray, we made it. We're in St.Moritz, and guess what? Karen was, first thing she needed was, I gotta have a coffee. So there was a nice cafe right near the railway station, and Karen said, oh, best coffee ever. So we had a good coffee there and got going for the day. Well, the first little bit we went up by train, and then it was by gondola, and then we got serious and we started doing some walking, looking back down towards where the gondola started, and further in the background you see down to St.Moritz. This was a bit of a surprise, and I figure only Switzerland would do that. You can't walk and you can't take your horse on there, but you can take your bike on there. And I guess there's to avoid accidents, I suppose, kind of makes sense. Now, if you're feeling bad that you didn't understand that language, that was Romansh, and I didn't understand anything either, but I liked their voices. This is looking southwest towards the Silvaplaner Lake, and of course it's one of those mountain lakes that you don't want to go swimming in unless you're really, really overheated, because those lakes are cold because they're fed by glaciers. And even the cows are up there. I guess somebody's got to work to make some cheese. Well, we're coming back down into St.Moritz, and sure was nice to actually get on the train. This is now looking at over top of St.Moritz. We're getting a little closer into town, and since it's only a single track, I guess this is where they open up and have the train to come down and train to go up past each other. And then they had this humongous long escalator. I guess in the wintertime there's a lot of skiers there, and it's hard to go upstairs with your big boots on, so they put this big escalator in. And now we're heading back down from the Albula Pass. Another small community. And overlooking town is the church. God has to have his place too. And this was in Tiefenkastel, and there's a funny story behind that. When I was a youngster, and I belonged to his Jungmacht, which is sort of like a Boy Scouts, but it was the Catholic organization. And so one summer we went to camp up in a mountain there near Tiefenkastel, and my brother, he was a guide counselor there. So he was telling me later, oh yeah, well, when you guys were in bed, we went down into town and we had a few beers on those places. Anyhow, it's kind of interesting that had a little story behind there. A nice sculpture in the railway station, and it looks like a traveler from a long time ago. And the next, I got a little clip from the UNESCO sites, and the railway we just went on is actually part of the UNESCO locations.
Journey through the Alps, Rhine Railway in the Albula Bernina landscapes. The Rhine Railway runs through the Swiss Alps. Put together, its Bernina and Albula lines are more than 120 kilometers long. This early 20th century scenic track is World Heritage. Tirano in Italy, near the Swiss-Italian border, is the starting point of the Bernina Railway. The Bernina line connecting Tirano and St.Moritz in Switzerland was opened in 1910. From Tirano, the railway climbs into the Swiss Alps to about 1,824 meters. It runs at a leisurely 30 kilometers per hour to be able to negotiate the steep slopes. A cycle goes faster. It's one of the few 360-degree looping tracks in the world. This is how the train manages to go up high mountains. At around 2,000 meters in altitude, trees disappear to make way for alpine views. Behind this station is Vadret Pers Glacier. The mountain railway was originally built for the benefit of tourists to enjoy such breathtaking scenery. Until the end of the 19th century, however, tourists had to take a horse-drawn carriage to see the glaciers. Building a mountain railway was a clever way to attract more tourist revenues. The last stop on the Bernina line is St.Moritz. The town of St.Moritz is also a part of the World Heritage listing, along with the railway. It's also the starting point of the Albula line. This 65-meter-high stone viaduct is known as Landwasser Viaduct. Iron and concrete was already used in those days, but it was designed to be built with traditional techniques using about 10,000 stones. Switzerland's beautiful landscapes are made more accessible by the railway, and trains and stations were built carefully to respect the surrounding environment. This mountain railway has helped improve the lives of mountain dwellers and shows how nature and humankind can coexist in harmony.
Besides all the various trains and gondolas, etc., the other main means of transportation in Switzerland is with the buses. Now, almost every town has a bus that comes on schedule. It used to be maybe just once or twice a day, but I think now they increased their frequency. And this is a kind of bus that I grew up with, and this is the kind of bus that my parents probably grew up with. And it seems to me that it wasn't a very practical bus in the wintertime. And this is going way back where they had the stagecoaches delivering mail and passengers across the Alps. And this is the iconic The Last Postillon, a painting that you probably find in almost every Swiss home. Now we're going on another little journey with Stefan and Maria and Monica. So we met in Zurich, and then we took the train east, I guess about half an hour, and then we got off in a small town, and then we took the ferry across the lake, and then we hiked along the shore there. But anyway, this is looking across the lake where we started out with the ferry. Well, we're moving along on the ferry, and a little bit on the windy side. Stefan and Maria. Yeah, the sun is coming up. Shows you how we're early risers. We don't fool around. Well, we're wide awake now, and all smiles, because we know what's coming up. Nice sunny day. Looking back to where we started out, to looking into the Glauner Alps. And surprise, surprise, there's actually a vineyard there on the other side. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. Well, there's our ferry, and we're back on solid ground again. And just in time for coffee. I mean, let's face it, you can't go on a big hike without having a bit of coffee. And we get to start now. You look at the nice grapes hanging down. That's a nice little... They're picking grapes there now. Well, it was October. I guess it would be the time, the year to picking grapes. Well, there are three beauties, Monica, Karen, and Maria, ready to go. Now looking back a little bit to where we already hiked, we can see that walkway along the bottom of the cliff there. That's where we started out. And surprisingly enough, there is even palm trees there on that side of the lake. I guess it's because it's facing south, and it's probably protected somewhat. Looks like the next load of people coming. Yeah, pull right in there. Fancy piers. Up and up we go. Higher and higher. And we're huffing and puffing, but we're going to make it. I like this sign here. It says, please keep your dog on the leash because we got free-range chickens out there. Isn't that considerate? Now this is even better here. It says, well, there's a restaurant coming up about 20 minutes, and it's open Monday to Thursday, and also it even tells you what kind of beer they're serving. That's what I call a classy hike. Beautiful flowers. The backside of the Kurfürsten. Somebody's living up there. Well, finally it's time for lunchtime. We're having a nice relaxing time. Well, I think we must be almost on top there because I can see our destination. Yeah, that's Wallenstadt. That's where we caught the train right back to Zurich. This was a great outing for a whole day hike, and thank you, Stefan, Maria, and Monica, who treating us for this nice day. And we should try it again another time. Now we're going to Appenzell. And if you're a cheese expert, you know that Appenzell makes some of the spiciest cheeses. And now these three fellows were saying, well, it's their secret. And little boy saying, well, it's a secret. What we make, even his little girl won't tell him. No, it's a secret. You can't say it. Don't tell anybody. Well, these guys got it down pat. When they make cheese, they don't fool around. This is probably one of the largest cheese factory in Appenzell, and highly automated. I don't see too many people working there, but whoever's working there knows how to run machinery. Now there's a few dollars worth of cheese, just seasoning. And here's a diagram that shows you all the variants, the different cheeses they make there, and I can see why they have make it a secret. As you can see, Appenzell has their own unique style of houses as well. Now this is the main, I guess what you call the capital of Appenzell, and interesting architecture. Also quite colorful, some of them. And as usual, they got this town fountain where you can go and sit around, relax, and have a smoke. Now the other thing is my cousin Herman, he took us up in Appenzell once for an election, and I didn't realize that it's a whole different ball game because they actually physically go there and vote. You raise your hand and they count. And the other thing too is one of the traditions is you bring your sword with you, and I guess it's, don't know why and how it goes back in history, but it's tradition, and tradition is important in some of the smaller areas. Now, the other thing that's a big tradition in Appenzell is what they call the Alpaufzug, when they take the cows up to the Alps in the summer to, I guess, to be grazing up in the alpine meadows, and then in the fall they bring them back down, and a lot of fellows actually are up there making cheese. Now Appenzell also has their own dog breed, Appenzeller, and as kids, a lot of the farmers in our area had them because they were pretty good at protecting the farms. But anyway, they also had a habit of nipping in your heel, so I got bit a few times by those little rascals. But they're a nice looking dog. The other thing that's a little unique, it's near in near the Appenzell area is this restaurant, and I guess partly carved into the cliff, and the rest is attached to the front. And while I was looking at that picture, I was thinking, well, when you see those old westerns and the guys having a bar fight and they get tossed out the door, well, I think that was happening here. The guy would never come back. Now we're getting serious. We're going to go to a monastery out in Karthausen, which is in Thurgau, close to the German border. And the monastery was actually quite wealthy because they had two main crops they were good at: making beer and making wine. And this is also the style of the housing in our region. Basically, you got like a post and cross framing with timber, and then you just fill in with stone, rubble, and masonry. And this was solid masonry construction, and have a nice garden there as well. It's well kept. Now they ended up got taxed because they got so prosperous that the municipalities kept taxing, and eventually the church sold out, and it's now privately owned, and it's a spa and a hotel and a restaurant there. But you can still visit the old workshops where the monks were living and doing their crafts. Of course, every monastery has to have a chapel, and it's amazing how ornate it was, and there's some amazing carving. I guess those monks, when there's nothing else to do, they just go get some wood and start whittling away. But it's amazing. Beautiful work. And what always amazes me, this was probably done 500 years ago. And, they didn't have power tools, everything just done by hand. Well, we're traveling along the Untersee, and this lake is basically where the Rhine River flows through, and it goes towards Schaffhausen and Basel, and then into Germany, and eventually into the ocean. So, but we're also visiting the Rhine Falls. We're entering on the castle side. So the Rhine Falls are the Swiss equivalent of the Niagara Falls. It's as popular and maybe not quite as famous, but it's always a big draw for tourists. Of course, we're there during the weeks, and it's also fall, so it's not that busy. But you can see there was that time of year was a lot of rain. This picture kind of makes me smile because it makes me think of Niagara Falls. Everybody's lining up and taking their selfie, and all is well. Well, it's getting dark, the lights are coming on, and I hope you enjoyed the trip. It was a little bit more diversified, less high mountains, but definitely worth the gas. Okay, well, see you next time. Bye-bye.